Hey there, everyone. Welcome back again. Well, today this is going to be kind of fun. I have this very nice piece of Ambrosia maple. It's measuring probably about, I think it was about 16 inches across by 16 inches across. The ends are about 3 inches thick. Um, and the nice thing, aside from that nice spalting you see there, is that along the middle and the edges you'll see are some nice little burls, and I'm really hoping to see some of that feature as I get into this piece. I think this is going to lend itself a little bit more to obviously a nice platter, so I'm going to kind of go that direction. Going to get this kind of mapped out and trimmed up a little bit so we can get it on the lathe and get rolling. Faceplate definitely the way to go in my opinion on this, so we can keep things nice and safe and have this thing very secure. Going to try to just get it into round. This is obviously going to be my bottom. Going over the tops of those little burl pieces or bits, and the tips, just had to make sure I went nice and slow, and everything should be fine. So this piece came off of, it was part of about a 6 foot cap that got milled off of an ambrosia maple log, of which the gentleman milling it did not want the cap. And I thought, well, that's about 3 inches thick. I'm sure I can do something with that. One of these pieces actually was sent to my mom, and is one of her favorite pieces. So I thought I would try to, which I never put that on video, but I thought I would do another and do a slightly different shape this time, and obviously see if I can improve upon it. Needed to establish a good tenon and a foot, and we're going to start working on getting the outside edge nice and trued up also. I think when this thing was all the way done, it worked out to be about 14 inches across, which is, in my opinion, a nice respectable size. The grain and the figuring on the last piece I did out of this slab and this one was just really pretty. Had some really nice spalting and good character to it. As I kind of get the outside shape sort of going the way I was intending, like with many of my projects, I decide to change things up a little bit. So I'm going to change the exterior shape a little bit. I kind of cut it in toward the rim and gave it a little bit more oomph, if you will. Little sanding on here to be able to get the outside finished here, or the bottom side finished, so I can get it turned around and start hollowing. I really like on smooth wood, use the fine steel wool and the Scotch pads before I do any kind of sanding paste or anything like that. Looking very nice. Going to use some Axe abrasive paste. Not sponsored by them, just like the product, and good bang for the buck economically. I send you a lot for a little. Also kind of richens up the color of any of the wood that you tend to work with. as well. Super pretty, lots of chatoyance to this wood. So if you are liking this kind of content, best way you guys can support me for free is to hit that notification bell. It helps my meager little channel more than you know. And please leave comments. I really love reading them all. And suggestions from people who are a lot more experienced than me are, and even those who are not, are more than welcome. The top part of this was actually pretty true because, again, it came off of a mill. But we're going to go ahead and flatten it out a little bit and make sure everything is nice and true. Kind of checking now, and I'm noticing some of the cracks that are here, and I'm kind of hoping, especially that one, that I'll be able to turn past it. We'll see. Again, these sorts of things don't really bother me too much usually because it always tends to work out, but we'll find out. I kind of marked off for that dark line where I kind of wanted to start cutting in, but again, like many of my projects, I ended up changing it a little bit more. Instead of it being a little bit more of an abrupt line, I think you'll see I change it up some. If you get your hands on some Ambrosia maple, I think you will be very happy when you work with it. It's a terrific wood. It turns very well. Oh, I did have a little bug damage. Yay. And cooperates real well. No issues. It's a nice hardwood. This is particularly dry, but really, really fun to work with. All that tear out that we see in the middle, again, I'm not too concerned with that because as I start doing finishing cuts and getting down to what will be my depth, I'm fairly sure I'll be able to smooth that out and make it look nice. So this is where I kind of changed that transition to be a little bit more of a smoother transition. I think I was going for a little bit closer to what I had done on the outside, and it just seemed to be a little bit more attractive to the eye, and I was liking it, so kind of kept going. Checking my thinness or thickness of those walls. I mean, I could see it, but sometimes the sound is even more helpful. Like always, I never really show how much I go back and sharpen. I did have to sharpen a decent amount with this piece just to keep giving myself some clean cuts and not create more tear out. But again, nothing more than usual, to be truthful, of a nice hardwood. Working now with this negative rake scraper to see if I can really kind of clean things up and give a nice smooth surface and get rid of a lot of those tool marks. Time to get a little sandpaper on it and see if we can start getting more to a finished piece. This is a little bit of alcohol just to get rid of all the dust and kind of pop those fibers up a little bit more before we do anything else. Also gives us a nice first look at the grain. Those spalting lines running through there are so cool. Putting some Axe abrasive paste on now to see if we can give a little bit more of a smoother surface. Again, just kind of keep wiping after you've kind of worked it in a little bit and let it break down till you don't see any product on there at all. This is the finishing polish from Axe. Gives a really nice shine, and I kind of feel like that little container is going to last me about 5 years because it doesn't take much. Turn the speed up a little bit. Don't press too much because you just want it to kind of warm up a little bit. Beautiful piece of wood. I always feel really fortunate when I kind of get into something and there's something really beautiful inside. Time to get that tenon gone. And again, if you haven't seen it before, I use a vacuum chuck as a jam chuck because they're nice and flat and they're mounted right to my headstock, so I don't have to worry about truing them up or anything. And especially if you've got a little bit of a flat surface like this larger platter, it sits right on there and holds it very, very steady. This base, I had not really concaved it well enough when I set the original foot, so I had to kind of cut it in a little bit more, as you see me doing here. So it was definitely nice and concaved and would sit on the outside edges of the foot and not sit in the center and wobble. We'll do a little sandpaper to kind of clean things up and get it ready for finish like the rest. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll get rid of that little nub. I'm just going to sand that off. So again, this piece ended up being about 13 inches across and about 2 3/4 inches deep. I was able to save a pretty good amount of that piece and not turn away a lot of size. Very pleased with how it came out. Going to put a little bit of Danish oil on the platter to seal it up nicely and give it a nice little shine look. Make sure you stay tuned for the after pics. Those are coming up in just a moment. And again, any comments, any suggestions, please offer those up. I really enjoy reading those, and I really appreciate all the support. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you next time.